Now you know what Pius said. Anyway, let's go to our feature looking at NIRSAL AGSMEIS. Is the final of what we started about 3-4 weeks ago.
The story for NIRSAL's AGSMEIS has been diverse. While some Nigerians have recorded success stories, others have continued to wait to become beneficiaries of the scheme. Our investigations show that the challenges with this scheme come from potential beneficiaries, agents who hitherto were middlemen between NIRSAL and the potential beneficiaries, a previous inefficient system for the processing of loans, some NIRSAL staff, and then lack of funds. Like one of the NIRSAL Microfinance Bank MfB staff noted, whenever money is connected, there are always challenges, and people will always invent ways to circumvent the system. This is what has happened with the NIRSAL AGSMEIS. Many of the potential AGSMEIS beneficiaries do not realize this money is a loan. They believe it is free government money to help them either start up or expand their businesses, or a share of the national cake. Attitude to repayment of these loans by some beneficiaries is non-committal. But the NIRSAL Microfinance Bank Chief Executive, Abdullahi Kure, says if you get the loan, you must pay.
These funds are loans and are not grants. And irrespective of where you have your accounts, we will debit those accounts and credit NMFB at default. Central Bank came with a mechanism called Global Standing Instruction. That allows us to debit any bank that a defaulter has money in terms of recoveries.
Then there were middlemen or agents who were trusted by the government institutions to be a go-between for potential beneficiaries and the NIRSAL MfB.
We have done a lot of jingles on radio, TV, and so on and so forth to educate people that, look, you don't need to pay 1 kobo before you get this. Apart from the basic requirements, which is training and business plan, which of course we have outsourced to entrepreneurial development centers, in which you are supposed to pay 15,000. You are not supposed to pay more than 15,000. So any EDI that charge you against that funds above the threshold, against the threshold I've set, please kindly report those EDIs to us. We have a whistleblowing portal for those collecting what I call percentage after facilitating, and also for those EDI that are collecting above the baseline money we have reached. We have an understanding of all the EDI that should collect 15,000, 5,000 for business plan, 10,000 for training, 1 week training. Our hard costs to penalize some EDIs in the past, we have registered them. I urge all applicants that have complaints, either against staff, against agent, people purported to be working for us and are not even known to us, or against any public person that want to scam them through our product, should please report to us. It will be handled with dispatch. Because if you don't complain, we will not know.
However, the biggest challenge the scheme is facing right now, which has caused many to disbelieve the credibility of it, is the lack of funds.
That is a major challenge, because I told you resources can't go around. At the last projection we did, we are talking of 1 trillion. If we have to satisfy all Nigerians that have queued up of applied, that is basically about 20% or thereabout of Nigerian budgets. So you can see it's practically not possible to feed everybody that have applied. But what I can tell you now is that fresh approvals are yet to come, because as I told you, resources are limited. But for the 2021, we're going to commence very soon, and I hope we'll cover some numbers. So those who had early approvals are already in the scheme of implementation. They are drawing down their money, they are buying the equipment, they are assessing their funds. But for the fresh one, we'll build traction very soon.
Quite recently, a lady from Jos, Plateau State, raised an alarm that she may have been defrauded by the NIRSAL Microfinance Bank. Rebecca Daniel Zamari tells us her story in a telephone conversation.
Rebecca Daniels refused that her picture be used for this, but she told us her story.
I applied for AGSMEIS loan 2019, and since then I have not received any feedback from them until on the 4th of May. I saw a text message that I should go to any NIRSAL Microfinance bank branch and refund my account for loan repayment, in preparation of loan repayment. So I went to their branch and I met some of the staff. I said, this is what brought me. I received a text, and this is what the text is saying, that I should refund my account for loan repayment, in preparation of loan repayment. And they asked me whether I have received any loan. I said no. They now said, okay, it's not for me. Maybe it's a general text, so I should ignore it. And I went back. Then on the 26th of that same May, the same text again entered my phone. But I did not respond because they have told me that it's a general text. It's not for me, since I have not received any money. It's for those that have been credited with money. So that same week, on the 28th, a call came into my phone. I picked, and it was a lady that she's from CBN. So she was now asking me, she mentioning my name and asking me, am I the one she's speaking with? I said yes. She said, okay, she's calling from CBN, that there is a loan that has been approved for me, 5 million, that I'm supposed to start repayment. I said, I have not received any text. So it's that day that I now tell her about the text that I've been receiving. But the first time, this is what happened. They said I should ignore. So she was now saying, why would they say I should ignore, that I should go and tell them that I forgot that her name, that she told me that she called, that there is a loan approved in my name, that you collect my BVN and check it. So when I get there, I say, okay, I will see the manager, and they take me to him. And I told him what brought me. I gave him, he now tells me I should give them my BVN. So I gave it to them. He asked them to check. So when they checked, they said, yes, the loan has been approved. But they have not put it, they didn't put it inside my bank account. But it's 500 they are seeing, because I told him that the woman said it's 5 million. He said it's 500 they are seeing here. So on going down, say, what is wrong? It's like transaction has been going into the account. He was mentioning the name that he's seeing there, and he was asking me whether they are my relations. I said no. I don't know the people that bear such name. He now say, okay, what they will do, I should go back, but they will make sure they follow up and see what really happened. Then they will call me back. So after some time, he called me and he said, they discovered that the transaction that has been going on is in Jalingo branch. That was when I went back. He said it's in Jalingo branch, but he have asked the person there, in charge over there, to check what actually went wrong. So a few days later, he called me that the person said what he see there was him too in his own branch. He had somebody that applied that had similar name with my own. So he thinks the problem came through the name.
It started at the beginning of the scheme in 2019, when the processes are not well streamlined. There are no validation of BVN, no validation of telephone number, and other controls that were put in place. It's basically a case of a mix of identity. We had two Rebecca Daniel, one from Jos, one from Taraba. So incidentally, one got 500, one got 5 million. So there was a swap in identity. But after the person complained, we investigated.
Daniel's applied for?
Yes, both of them applied. One got 500, one got 5 million. So there was a swap in identity. The one for Tarawa was sent to Jos. The one for Jos was sent to. Luckily, the other person didn't access it. So we got across to the complainants, and I believe the issue is ratified. It will not happen again, because from January 2021, we have certain controls around unique identification, which is BVN. So irrespective of whether you have same name, it's this issue of same name that caused this. So I wish the applicant will appreciate what we have done. It is not deliberate. When you deal with huge numbers, there are likely to be issues. But now we are building a lot of controls, internal controls, technology, efficiency of processes. So that will not happen. We have got across to the Rebecca Daniel and Jos, and I'm sure if you have his number, he will tell you. You'll be able to access his 500 million. Now, nobody has touched it. But because we couldn't reach him, and now since he has come, because the system interpolated the two Rebecca Daniel. But luckily for us, we were able to identify the BVN. Two of them have separate BVN. So that's what we used to resolve the issue. And I'm sure if you have his access, he will have told you, as at today, the issue is being resolved.
Abdullahi Kure says the application and interview process for the scheme has been simplified, and so applicants will know their fate almost immediately after they apply for the loan.
We normally give feedback for every applicant that have applied. Probably you have not heard it, but I believe a lot of public will have received SMS that you have failed in your application. Because the simple criteria is that if you put a wrong BVN, you fail. If your credit failure has been assessed and is confirmed to be, you have a standing credit, you have not paid back, you also fail. The questionnaire you are talking about, or the interview, is no longer interview, it's no longer physical. The portal has been improved now. It's actually a questionnaire that is electronic. The system will score you. So once you score below our baseline or threshold, you also have failed. So there's a feedback mechanism now to all the people that apply that you have failed, and if you fail, that means you have to go and reapply.
For people like Daniel Miracle, who are eagerly awaiting response from the bank after undergoing an interview process for over a year, what is their fate?
The only thing I can say is they should be hopeful. Anybody that attempts to get something, he might get it eventually.
The NIRSAL AGSMEIS scheme is definitely an ambitious program by the Bankers Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria. With the paucity of funds, it is obvious that this scheme will not meet its desired objective except there is a miracle. For those who have got their funds for expanding or starting up their businesses, we say congratulations.
Because you can't get this type of capital anywhere. You go to commercial bank, they say bring collateral, be guarantor, bring your cash flow statements, your capacity to pay. So all these preconditions are not there. So any person that's able to access it, I urge you to use it very well, invest the money, use it for assets that can generate income, set up businesses. Don't divert the money for other things like you go and marry, or you'll be building houses, or be buying cars that cannot generate income to pay back. Because if you don't do certain businesses that can generate income and pay back, one, you can't pay back. Two, the organization too will suffer losses. Three, other people that want to access may not have the source to access because the funding will not be there. So I urge Nigerians to please, those who are lucky, I would say lucky because the demand for this product cannot be met by supply of money. It's practically impossible. They can't give me the certain percent of the Nigerian budget, up to 20% to spend. It's not possible. While there are other competing sectors looking for money. So anybody that gets, please use it well.
But for others still awaiting response from the bank, it may be advisable to look elsewhere for funds. Except you get lucky.
It is not a scam. I can't be sitting here wearing suit. There's somebody who's telling me it's a scam. I'm a professional banker for 30 years.